Ever feel like you're just swimming in tech specs when something new drops, especially cameras? You just want to know, like, what's the real story? What matters for me for how I shoot? Well, that's what we're doing today. We're diving deep into the brand new Nikon Z6III. We'll pull out the crucial bits, the surprising stuff, so you can figure out fast why everyone's talking about it and, if it's right for your creative path. And as we dig in, let's keep this question rolling. Is the Z6 III really that single tool creators need now? The one that nails both stills and serious video?
Yeah, and connecting to that, the big thing here right from the start is that this isn't just a minor refresh. The Z6 III is a much more substantial upgrade compared to the Z6 II. It's making waves immediately. It matches, or honestly, in many ways, it betters the Canon EOS R6 Mark II. It's already snagged the editor's choice spot for full-frame cameras in this price range.
Wow, editor's choice already. That's quick.
It is, and it's down to a few key things. That fresh, partially stacked sensor tack, the really fast and accurate 3D tracking focus, which now has intelligent subject recognition, and crucially for many, the internal ProRes encoding for video.
Okay, hold on. You threw out partially stacked sensor and ProRes.
Yeah.
For folks who've heard the terms but maybe aren't totally clear what's the actual benefit, like day-to-day shooting.
Right, good question. So the partially stacked sensor basically means the camera reads data off the sensor much, much faster. For you shooting, that means way less rolling shutter distortion, when vertical lines look wobbly if you pan quickly.
Ah, okay.
That's minimized. Plus, it enables those crazy fast burst speeds and helps handle the data needed for high-end video formats. And ProRes, it's not just hype, it's a professional video codec. You're capturing higher quality video, less compressed footage, which gives you so much more flexibility in post-production, for color grading, for detail. It's huge for show work.
Got it. So practical benefits for demanding stuff. Makes sense. Now, thinking about using it day in, day out, how does it actually feel? The build, the design.
It feels very Nikon, which is a good thing. It's sort of
Yeah.
average size for a full-frame mirrorless. Specs are 4.0 by 5.5 by 2.9 inches, weighs just under 1.5 pounds without a lens. A tiny bit bigger than the Canon R6 Mark II, maybe, but not cumbersome. Definitely fine for long days out.
And the build quality itself. You mentioned sturdy earlier.
Oh, yeah. It's got a mirrorless design, obviously, with the electronic viewfinder, but it keeps that SLR-like feel. Centered EVF, nice prominent hand grip, balances well, even with bigger lenses. And importantly, it features a magnesium chassis, plus dust and splash protection. Nikon's saying the sealing is just as good as the Z8.
Z8 level ceiling. Wow. So it can handle some rough weather then.
Absolutely. Take it out in the rain, dust, whatever. It's built for it. Suitable for real-world, sometimes messy location work.
And does that ruggedness make it feel like a brick, or is the weight okay?
No, they've managed it well. Despite the magnesium chassis, it doesn't feel overly heavy. You get that toughness without, feeling like you're lugging around something massive.
Okay, so built tough, feels good, that's a big plus. But that kind of package usually sits at a certain price point. Let's talk about where it fits in the market. How much are we looking at?
It's priced at $2,499.95 body only. So smack bang in the middle for full-frame cameras. That whole category runs from maybe $1,000 up to $6,000 plus. It is more than the Z6 II was at launch. That was $2,000.
Yeah.
But it's right in line with its main rivals, the Canon R6 Mark II and the Sony A7 IV. Both are also $2,500.
Right, the $2,500 sweet spot seems pretty crowded. How does the Z6 III stand out against those two specifically, Canon and Sony?
That's the key comparison, yeah. Well, the Z6 III and the R6 Mark II are both 24-megapixel cameras. The Sony A7 V gives you a bit more resolution at 33 megapixels, so more cropping room, potentially larger prints from the Sony. But autofocus. The Z6 III and the R6 Mark II are generally seen as being ahead of the A7 IV. They're just newer systems, more advanced tracking. And for video, like we said, all three are really capable. Very good. But the Z6 III pulls ahead with that internal ProRes support. That's a big differentiator. Though if video is your absolute main thing, you should also look at the Panasonic Lumix S5 Anots, which is around $2,200 and also has ProRes, or the S5 II at $2,000. They're strong video contenders too.
Good point about Panasonic. And what about if someone's looking at, say, entry-level full frame, or thinking about jumping up to the really high-end stuff?
Well, compared to entry-level options like Nikon's own Z5, maybe $1,400, or the Canon EOS R8 around $1,500. Those cameras often give you similar still image quality and good light, but they usually lag behind on autofocus speed, build quality, and definitely the high-end video features. Not really built for fast action or demanding video the same way. And then looking up market. You've got the Nikon Z8 at $4,000, The Canon EOS R5 Mark II coming in around $4,300. The Sony A7RV with its 60 megapixels. Those give you significantly higher resolution, often even faster focus, pro-grade video options. But you're paying a lot more for that jump.
Puts the Z6III's position in perspective. Makes sense. Now, a camera body is only part of the equation. Lenses are crucial. How's the Nikon Z lens system looking these days?
It's pretty mature now. 6 years in the market. There's a healthy range of options, especially in the mid-range and high-end price points. One area Nikon's doing really well is with some surprisingly light telephoto lenses, like the Z600mm f6.3. It's $4,800, but for 600mm, it's very portable. It really appeals to wildlife or sport shooters who don't want to carry enormous glass.
Interesting niche. How does the overall Z lens lineup compare to Canon RF and Sony E-mount?
Canon RF has a good mix, some budget, some high-end, but maybe fewer mid-price choices compared to Nikon right now. Sony's E-mount, though, that system just has more of everything. It's been around longer. And Sony's way more open to third-party lens makers. So the sheer variety on Sony is still unmatched. You can find almost anything. For someone starting with the Z6III, though, the kit with the Nikon Z24-70mm f4S zoom is a good deal at $3,099.95. Saves you $400. Or if you want more reach, the Z24 120mm f4S is excellent, about $1,100. And there are great third-party options too, like the Tamron 28-75mm f2.8 G2 for around $1,000. Bright aperture, really sharp.
Okay, lots of options then. Let's get back to the camera itself. We talked about the build. How about actually using it? The handling, the controls. Does that famous Nikon ergonomics hold up?
Oh, absolutely. The ergonomics are, well, sublime. It just feels right in the hand. Comfortable, secure grip, even with a bigger lens attached. The grip is placed well far enough from the lens mount so your knuckles aren't cramped. And yeah, that stuff matters. Over a long shooting day, good ergonomics make a huge difference in reducing fatigue and just letting you focus.
And the buttons and dials, are they laid out intuitively? Easy to change settings on the fly?
Very much so. It's a familiar Nikon layout for anyone who's used their cameras before. You've got two configurable function buttons, FN1 and FN2, near the grip. Front command dial right under the shutter release. Top plate has dedicated record, ISO, EV buttons near the shutter. Plus that handy monochrome info display. Mode dial on the left has that push-to-turn lock, which is nice, prevents accidental changes.
Sounds well thought out. What about the back and that I menu Nikon uses?
Rear controls are well placed too. Drive and delete buttons are on the left of the EVF drive is useful, with burst speeds up to 120 to peaches, by the way.
Yeah.
Then on the right, you have display, the movie still switch, crucial AF on button, an 8-way joystick for focus point selection, a 4-way D-pad, and then buttons for the iMenu, zoom in out, menu, and playback. The iMenu itself is Nikon's quick menu overlay. You customize with your most used settings for stills or video, lets you change things super fast without diving deep into the main menus. It's a real workflow enhancer. And the main menu system, standard Nikon fare, color-coded, logical. Anyone coming from another Nikon will feel instantly at home.
You mentioned the brilliant EVF right at the start. What makes it stand out so much? You said 4,000 nits brightness, DCI-P3 color. What does that feel like looking through it?
Yeah, the EVF is genuinely a highlight. It's all new. That 4,000 nits peak brightness. It means the view is incredibly clear and bright, even in harsh sunlight. You won't be squinting or struggling to see. And DCI-P3 support means the colors you see are wider ranging and more accurate, closer to professional video standards. This is especially key if you shoot HDR video in HLG format. You can actually see a proper preview of that extended dynamic range and color right in the viewfinder. Plus, it's big 0.80x magnification. It's sharp 5.8 million dots. And you can choose 60 or 120 frames per second refresh rate for smoothness. Honestly, it's easily the best EVF among cameras in this class right now.
That does sound impressive. A huge upgrade for the shooting experience. What about the rear screen, the LCD? Is it playing second fiddle or is it strong too?
It's not quite as revolutionary as the EVS, but it's still excellent. It's a very angled screen, so it flips out to the side, rotates forward for vlogging or selfies, and tilts up and down for high or low angles. Very versatile. It's a good size at 3.2 inches, nice and crisp with 2.1 million dots, and definitely bright enough for outdoor use. It's just a touch bigger than the 3-inch screen on the Canon R6 Mark II, and significantly sharper than the, frankly, slightly dated 1.04 million dot panel Sony uses on the 8.7 IV.
Okay, so great viewing options both ways. Let's shift to the practicalities. Power, connectivity. How's the battery life? We often hear super ratings aren't the full story.
Exactly. The Z6III uses Nikon's standard EL15C battery. The official CEPA rating is around 360 shots using the EVF or 390 using the LCD. which on paper sounds maybe a bit mediocre.
Hmm.
But in real-world use, especially if you're shooting bursts like at 20 frames per second, you can easily get thousands of shots on a single charge. SEPA tests involve a lot of menu fiddling and playback between shots. Compared to rivals, the Canon R6 Mark II gets similar enough SEPA numbers. The Sony A7 RC does have a better SEPA rating, leading the pack there on paper.
And if you do need more juice for a long day or a video shoot,
Simple solutions. Grab a spare battery, they're about $73. Or for serious power users, there's the MBN14 battery grip for about $360. It holds 2 batteries, effectively doubles your shooting time, and adds vertical controls, which is nice for portrait orientation shooting. Charging is in-camera via USB-C, which is convenient. You can buy an external charger separately if you want to charge spares while shooting.
makes sense. And ports. What does it offer for connecting mics, monitors, transferring files?
It's well equipped. You get a full-size HDMI port, much more robust than micro or mini HDMI for external recording or monitoring, plus standard 3.5mm microphone and headphone jacks, and a Nikon accessory terminal for things like remote triggers. Covers the main video needs.
Good. And wireless, how does it connect to phones? What about memory cards?
It's got built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, standard stuff now. Works with the Nikon SnapBridge app on your phone. You can do automatic or manual image transfers, remote control the camera, geotag photos. It works pretty reliably. For storage, it has 2 card slots, which is great for backup, overflow, or separating file types. Slot 1 takes CF Express Type B cards or the older XQD cards. These are the really fast ones, essential for high bitrate video and clearing the buffer quickly during bursts. Slot 2 takes standard UHS-2 SDXE cards. Still very fast, widely available, and cheaper. Good flexibility there. Oh, and no built-in flash, but it does have a standard hot shoe on top for external flashes or wireless triggers or mics.
All right, comprehensive connectivity. Now, autofocus. You mentioned 3D tracking earlier. How big a deal is the AF upgrade from the previous Z6 II? What does it mean for capturing, say, wildlife or sports?
It's a really big deal, a significant upgrade. The Z6III inherits advanced subject recognition modes from the top-tier Z8 and Z9. So it doesn't just recognize people and common pets. It now has modes specifically for wildlife, birds, other animals, plus cars, airplanes, trains. The camera is much smarter about identifying your subject automatically. And the key implementation is the 3D tracking focus. It's a Z mirrorless version of Nikon's classic DSLR tracking. You lock onto a subject and it just sticks to it, follows it as it moves around, even if it ducks behind something briefly. In practice, testing it out, it's extremely effective. Very reliable for those unpredictable moving subjects.
That sounds fantastic for action. Now, I remember reading one tiny critique about the 3D tracking, something about the initial box size being fixed. Could you explain that? Is it actually a problem in the real world?
Right, that's a fair point to mention, though. Maybe a minor one for most. The initial box, the little square you use to first tell the camera what to start tracking, it's a fixed size on the Z6III. Sony system, their real-time tracking, lets you choose different sizes for that initial acquisition box, small, medium, large. So in a really cluttered scene, imagine trying to pick out one specific bird in a dense flock, or one player in a tight group on a field. Having a smaller box might make it slightly easier to pinpoint your target initially with the Sony system. But once the Nikon locks on with its 3D tracking, it's very, very sticky. So it's a slight nuance in initial acquisition in busy scenes, rather than a major flaw in tracking performance itself.
Okay, good clarification. So let's wrap this up. Bringing everything together from this deep dive, what's the final verdict on the Nikon Z6III? Does it hit that mark we talked about at the start, being that versatile, indispensable tool?
I'd say absolutely yes. It shapes up as a fantastic, do-it-all camera. It really does bridge that gap effectively. It's a superb choice for pros who need to deliver both high-quality stills and video, but also for serious enthusiasts, indie filmmakers, even high-end vloggers. The key strengths are definitely that confident 3D tracking autofocus, paired with the fast burst shooting for action and wildlife. It's built like a tank, ready for tough conditions. And that EVF, it's just the best in its class, period. Makes shooting a pleasure.
Any final words of caution, or just reaffirming its place?
Well, like any camera, it's not perfect. There were some early discussions about dynamic range and very specific extreme highlight recovery scenarios compared to some competitors. But honestly, for the vast majority of commercial and artistic work, the picture quality is excellent, more than capable. So yeah, we stand by it being the new editor's choice in this full-frame category for enthusiasts and pros. It really does edge out the Canon R6 Mark II overall. It delivers what modern hybrid creators need.
It definitely sounds like a powerful, versatile machine. And as we've seen, the Z6III really highlights how cameras are becoming these incredible hybrid tools, blurring those lines between stills and video more than ever. Which brings up maybe a final thought for you listening. In this age where one device can do so much technically, what skills, beyond just knowing the gear, become even more critical for a creator to actually master, to make work that truly stands out? Something to think about.